Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Live. We're here on YouTube, also on TikTok, and we already have some questions coming through. So, first and foremost, someone said, how can we manifest wealth and abundance if we want capitalism to end? What a good question. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So that's a really good question. So, one of the things that I think is really important with abundance when we're manifesting, and we'll get more into this topic because I'm sure the questions will come in. But when it comes to abundance, it's really important for us to see abundance beyond money and beyond the material. So, abundance can be an abundance of time, an abundance of love. Health can be abundant. Food can be abundant. Growth, your garden can be abundant. So, one of the best ways to attract abundance into your life is to acknowledge and appreciate the abundance that is already there in other forms. Like one time when I was kind of working on my abundance, I was driving and in LA there's a red light or a stop sign or traffic every couple of moments. And as I was going, the light turned green. And then later I was like, oh, I was slowing down. Oh, wait, the light just turned green. And I was like, I am so abundant. I am so abundant because I'm like, I have the gifts of the universe just here. So just even something like that, like, wow, something working out, prosperity is right there. So, but manifesting wealth, even though you want capitalism to end. So, this is the thing, you know, I don't know how I feel about the capitalism ending thing because what is the alternative, right? Communism? Hell no. I mean, communism, we have examples of communism in the world. I've already gone off on this topic and got real heated on it. Whenever people talk about communism, they're like, well, it's this idea. Yeah, well, it's also how China and North Korea and Cuba operate. Okay. So those constructs and those ideas to exist within the world and the system that we already have is not going to be la la la. So ending capitalism, is such a big concept that maybe our whole system of everything will collapse. It is what it is. That's one of the things that eventually, the more that we heal, we'll just have to surrender to whatever is happening and know that we're always in. There's never been a true example of communism. Yeah, because it doesn't work. That's why it doesn't work. And they will always turn into that because the concept is that everyone's needs are met. So it's the bare minimum of their needs that are met. So ending capitalism, I don't think is the thing that you want to manifest because what you're doing is you're basically creating this issue between you and money, you know? So capitalism is why we have amazing things. Exactly. It also incentivizes people to create things. If everyone just has bare minimum, and nobody wants for anything and there's no rewards or no incentives, then does anyone actually create anything beautiful or helpful or make things better or make things more efficient or more simple? It's been hard for you. You want to be abundant, but you want everyone to have it too. So the thing is, what we have to understand is that things are going to happen in the way that they're going to happen in. We can't create this balance saying that money is evil, money is bad, that basically all wealthy people are, demons that eat babies. We can't. If you have these ideas about people that are successful, then what you're always doing is positioning yourself separate from them. So it's important to really find examples of people. And usually it's in real life. Usually they're not like the people on, TV and in the movies and all of this stuff. In real life, there are examples of people who are financially wealthy, who are good people, who use their money in good ways, and also are like minded. I've been very lucky in the last couple of years to be able to meet a lot of friends that are very well off, but then also they're into all of this stuff and the aliens. And they also think that, there's bad people out there in the world that are doing these crazy, creepy things. But if we always see that these people are negative, then we're never going to align with it. And we're always going to have this kind of poverty vow of like, well, I'll always have to remain this way because I'm a good person. So because I'm a good person, I guess I have to stay poor and broke and suffer, and that's something that we have to start breaking, is that we have to know that it's possible for people to be good and have money. Now, the other thing that is really important, that is like a big misinterpretation that we have in the spiritual spaces, they talk about this in Conversations with God, is that in Conversations with God, they say that we see value in a very deranged way. I don't know, they don't use the word deranged. They use something a little nicer than that. But we use it in a deranged way, that basically we believe that things that are the highest value, which is healing is the highest value. I've already talked about that before. That was what I learned on my last ayahuasca journey, was you basically need to see that there is nothing more valuable than healing. A person who has gone through trauma and pain, and then for that person to be able to heal, is the biggest transmutation, is the most valuable thing in the world. People with all the money in the world, all the riches in the world, sometimes cannot even get that. So if anything that you're able to heal from, know that that is as most valuable thing. Anything you're able to help someone heal from is the most valuable thing you could ever give them. So a lot of times though, we see healing as basically it should be free. And, I was falling into that too, which is why, when I first started posting on TikTok, I had these videos that were like many, many, many millions of views. But then also I'm like, oh, information should be free. It all should be free. And it's like the things that actually have the highest value, valuable information that changes people's lives and heal them. Or sometimes people see like a healer, and they're like, oh, why do you charge for healing? We have this idea that the most valuable things should be free. And then the other things, so the book gives the example of the teachers, the healers, all the people who are genuinely doing good. We think that what they should be giving is free. Oh, a spiritual guru should be free. Oh, why do you charge if you have this ability? But then they talk about how the people who make all this money are maybe, they use the example of like an exotic dancer. But then you look now, it's even more so than when the book was written. The book was written in 1994. Now we have like the OnlyFans thing. And it's like, no judgment to someone if that's the path that they're on. But these people are making, like, did you see the one girl that she was like, she made $9 million in 1 year? $9 million. But then the people who are doing the true healing, the true value, giving the true you said energy exchange, and people who are doing like giving you the most valuable information are counting their nickels. So this is like really important, that like we as a collective, and it starts with those of us in the spiritual space, is to start shifting our mentality around when it comes to money and it comes to value and it comes to things, because healing is the greatest value. True information is the greatest value. And these other things are given an extreme value. And they say that's why, in the book, it says that's why our politicians are corrupt, because the politicians should be making good money based off of what they're doing, but they don't make good money. And this is why they are corrupt and paid off. And the lobbyists and Saudi Arabia is in their pockets. And all of these things are happening. And it's because these people that are doing service for people and service for the good of humanity are not compensated fairly. Yet the people who, and like I said, no judgment to people that are doing, maybe the OnlyFans or something like that. Everybody has their path, and everybody is on the path that is right for them at the time. However, $9 million in 1 year. while all the rest of us are trying to do the right thing. And then it makes everybody kind of toe this line of corruption, toe this line of authenticity. That's within humanity. So we can look at the world and say, this is what needs to change, but it actually has to start changing inside of us for those things to start to change. We need to start looking at this and being like, oh, the true value is healing. I'm broke. I want this money. I need these riches. Well, okay, focus on helping, focus on healing yourself and others. Imagine how great education would be if teachers made $9 million a year. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so let me look at some other questions. Hello, everybody. Good to see you guys. Okay, what do you think about manifesting or accepting what life wants you to give? Where's the middle ground? I love this question. Thank you, Stella. So one of my favorite things is, what do you do when you're manifesting? Do you create exactly what you want and write it down and be specific and focus on it? Or do you surrender to your highest good? And it's a very fine line. And I think different things work for us at different points in our life. Also, I mean, I guess this is the conversation with God book talk, okay? Because also in conversations with God, they talk about this as well. And they talk about how if we are not actively creating, then the other things that create for us, sometimes, this is a balance, we're going to get to it, is our unconscious thoughts and other people creations. So other people's wants and needs and creations combined with our unconscious thoughts. So it actually, in some ways, is very important for us to create what we want when our unconscious thoughts have not been healed yet. So if we have these unconscious thoughts about this evil 1% is the only people who can have power in this world, that's an unconscious thought that we have. And then those evil 1% of people are the ones that are consciously creating this greedy world that we live in, then that's what continues to manifest. So then there's a variation of it. When the subconscious thoughts have been more healed, then you can surrender more. So it really is a balance. I think it also depends on what. So in certain aspects of your life, you might be more healed. And in other aspects, you might not. Like for me, for example, I have healed a lot of parts of my life. You know, I'm very happy with what I'm doing. I feel so purposeful and at peace with what I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm so lucky that I get to help people in this way through, talking. And then I do the QHHT and get to help people on the one-on-one. And then I get to create things about whatever topic I want to talk about and share my stuff with the world. And then, I'm getting to do the things that I want to do. I'm very happy in that area. So I can surrender a bit in those areas of my life, a little bit, not saying everything is 100% everything, but it's like, okay, I can surrender it that more. However, when it comes to relationships, I am not all healed in those ways. So I need to be careful of my subconscious thoughts creating the reality, or I'm just going to keep seeing more of these types of people who are cheaters, liars, and not good partners, people who aren't supporting their partner, people who aren't able to step up and be a supportive partner, or seeing marriages fail, or seeing people do this. So I think it's also, we have to be really honest with ourselves about in what areas of our life are we truly okay in, and what areas are we not? Because, me not actively, I haven't been actively manifesting love and relationships. I've been actually like, okay, write it off, whatever, like it'll happen. The right person will come to me. The soulmate will appear. But then my unconscious thoughts are still a bit of trash, So like, is that surrender method going to work for that? Or no, I need to do more healing in that area. Or I need to do more active creation in that area. And I need to brainwash myself in that area to see more of that in the world. And when I see other relationships, to really zero in to the good qualities of them instead of the bad qualities, and really train my brain to see that in the world. So it really depends. There's something called the life book. It's pretty expensive. I don't know if I'd suggest it, but there's 12 areas of life. I did it. It was helpful. But there's 12 areas of life that we can break life into. Let me see if I have it on my computer. 12 areas of life. Let's see. Okay, I do. So I'll read them to you. Okay. These are the 12 areas of life according to the life book. So we need to, when you're looking at your life, according to this method, you break down these 12 areas and see what are your true thoughts and beliefs in this area, and then what is your vision in this area. Okay, so we have physical health. Okay, where are you at with your physical health? And what is your vision of where you want to be? Personal relationships. I think romantic relationships a separate category? No, it's not. Okay, so personal relationships is everything. It is friendships and relationships and everything. So personal relationships. What are my beliefs in this area of personal relationships? And what is my vision? There's more questions to it, but I guess I can't just give out the whole course for free. Career and education. What are my beliefs and stuff in this area? So say, for example, your beliefs in your area of your career are, oh, well, the thing I want to do is just not practical. So I guess I'll do this instead. Okay, so you have these beliefs in this area. Some will be good beliefs and some will be bad beliefs. So, like, okay, maybe you have a belief that, like, I'm never going to get to actually do my dreams. So I guess I'll do this instead. Or I'm always going to struggle if I do this that I want to do. So these are the unconscious beliefs that we have. Okay. So then what is your vision in that area? 4, finances. What are your beliefs in the area of finances and money? And then what is your vision of where you want to be in that area? 5, spirituality and personal growth. So if you're in the spiritual side, which you're probably in if you're watching this, however, if you are not in the spiritual side as much and you're more in the personal development side, what are my beliefs in this area? What are the fundamental things that I think about this and feel about this? Where do I want to be in this area of my life? Recreation and hobbies. Okay, so like a lot of us don't even have hobbies, right? A lot of people don't even have them. So like, what do I do for recreation and hobbies? What are the premise that you have? Maybe some people think, I don't have time to. I don't have time to have hobbies. I'm too busy. That's your hobby is Jesus. Well, good for you, man. So with these hobbies, if you believe you don't have time for hobbies, okay, that's a premise. That's a belief there. What about the vision that you have for your hobbies? Okay. What is next? Community involvement or social connections. So, what is your idea of community? What is your social connections that you want to have? What is your network of people like? Do you feel like, oh, I'm just so isolated and antisocial and it's so hard for me to be around people? That's your beliefs in that way. Maybe you have positive beliefs in these. I'm just giving examples of bad beliefs. Because it's what we don't want to manifest. But of course, everybody has good beliefs in these too. Like I have a great community. I'm great at networking. I meet the people that I want to meet all the time. What is your vision for it? Domestic life or household management. Okay, so like, what is the domestic life look like? What does it look like being at home for you? What do you feel like is available for you in your home life? Parenting and family. So if you want to be a parent or also family, or also, this could be chosen family if you don't resonate with either of those, or just cross this part out. You don't need to do all 12 parts. And so what are my vision? What are my beliefs in this area? Your beliefs in this area might be like, I've always meant to be a mom, or I've never wanted to have kids, or I want to have an unconventional way of having kids. This person is like freaking out. Nobody is worried about Jesus, except you. Okay. If you love Jesus so much, my friend, then just accept that. Why do you need some type of reaction from me? Okay. So, parenting and family, what is your beliefs and what is your vision? Personal development or self care? What do you see with your self care and personal development? This is different than the spiritual one. This is more so in like your practicality. Creativity or self expression. What do you see yourself doing creatively? Is this a job creatively? Is this something that you do in your personal time? How do you express yourself? And what is your vision for it? Environmental or charitable causes. So, what do you want to do in charity or in your environment or things like that? What is your beliefs of what exists? What is the premise of like, what if you believe that charities are all scams and global warming is killing us all? Okay, well, what is your vision for what you want in that area? Okay, let me go back to, I had it blocking my screen. But so when you break down those different 12 areas of life, maybe you see that in some, if you were to rate yourself 1 to 10 in each, maybe some of them you're a 10. You've already found your soulmate and your soul tribe. But then maybe in your hobbies, it's a 3, you know? So if you can go through all of those different areas and see which ones uh, stick out and which ones are lower, then you should see which ones do I need to actively more manifest and which ones can I surrender more. Anxiety is your hobby. This is helpful. Thanks, Bree. Okay. Mike, will you suggest a QHHT practitioner for your good friend who was recently diagnosed with cancer? I'm sorry to hear that about your friend. So I do QHHT, but I do it digitally. So I do that. It's called Soul Journey Hypnosis. So I've retitled it because I don't call it QHHT for that reason, because it wasn't intended to be done online. But if your friend prefers to do it in person with someone who does it the regular way, which that's the difference of how I do it, then they can go to qhhtofficial.com and find someone in their area, and see if there's somebody that resonates with them, that sticks out to them. But I do want to say, and also maybe some people who have already done it with me can say, it is very effective online. Even if you have a little bit of trouble with going under and meditation or hypnosis, trust me, we do get the answers. It could take longer. It could take all day. We can spend extra time. It totally works. I've heard stories of people saying they got sent away because they couldn't go under hypnosis. I just think that that's crazy. I feel like people just need a little bit more assurance and a little bit more time. What is my destiny? You know what, Nathan? This is a great question. So I listened to Robert Edward Grant's QHHT session with Sarah Brexman Cosme. You guys should listen to it on YouTube. I just listened to it 2 days ago. Beautiful. First of all, so aligned with so much of the information that I share all the time. But there was one thing, and I wish I could remember the exact wording of it, but this is as close as I can remember. I took a screenshot of the caption on the screen. I put the closed captions on and then screenshotted it so I could have the exact wording for when I reference it. But destiny is the will, the free will of our higher self. That's good. That is good. Destiny is the free will of our higher self. I might be wording it wrong, but that's what it said. I have to look at what the actual wording of it was. I listened to the whole thing. Okay. Mhm. Right. Exactly. Someone saying, $1,000 for a session is crazy, but at the same time, look at the healing that comes. It's way more than 1,000. I don't charge 1,000 for sessions, but people do. And I've heard people get incredible results from even very expensive healers. And the same thing, I still talk about it. I talk about it all the time, how I didn't do the session with um, Dr. Michael Newton in 2013 because the session was too expensive in my mind. And for the rest of my life, I regret not doing that session. Okay. Because I could have done a past life regression with Dr. Michael Newton, who then ended up changing my life after that. I didn't even know who he was at the time. It was just the person who popped up when I looked. Oh, cool. Thanks, Tara. Okay, let me see if there's other questions here. QHHT is quantum healing hypnosis technique, and it's the meditation style that was created by Dolores Cannon, a Reddit Jesus troll. They collaborate to find people. That's funny. Um, you feel like you're stuck in an endless loop of disappointment and not knowing what your purpose is. So, there's different ways to find out your purpose. However, a lot of times it is connected to something that really lights you up always. And whenever we've gone people under hypnosis, obviously when you do QHHT, you ask your purpose of your higher self. So it's one easy way to get it. But you don't have to do that because it really is the things that truly light you up that you've always wanted to do. So in these ways, you already know, but there might be mostly everyone when they go under, there's kind of two different types of people that when they go under, the people who are like really here for this really big kind of star seed light worker type of mission, and then people who are here to intimately help. So they're kind of intimately learning their own lessons throughout their family and their friends and their immediate. And then there's people who are here for these kind of bigger lessons. Both are just as valuable. Both are just as important. Sorry, I'm like burping. Both are just as important because when you heal your family or heal someone in your life, you're healing that ancestral line and you're healing forward in their ancestral line. So that is just as valuable as someone who's here who's going to heal a mass of people. Not everybody can heal their family, but maybe that person might be able to heal thousands of people online, but they might not be able to do it to their own parents. So both of those things are very important. And so when people go under hypnosis, there's two kind of things that happen. It's either to like help or assist or guide or heal with something that's like big and for a group of people, or to help or heal or assist something more immediate. And then there's some people who their purpose is even more simple, which is actually really beautiful, which sometimes their purpose is to enjoy life, to live. Sometimes their purpose is just to laugh and have fun and enjoy it, because that is also a valuable purpose as well, because they teach other people to do that. Oh, thanks, Mike. Thank you for the super chat. What is my website to book a session? So it should be in the link below on this YouTube. It should say book a soul journey hypnosis session. That'll give a little bit of information about it. And then if you guys do want to over here on TikTok, it'll be in my Beacons AI in the link in my bio. Oops, why do okay, I keep clicking back and forth. But Mike, make sure it's what your friend really wants to do, and that if they're very open to it, it is okay. People who are skeptical can still go under hypnosis, but it has to be the will of the person. So, talk to them and see if that's what they really want. And if it is what they really want to do or want to try, or even if just they're open to trying things, then that is what's important. You wouldn't want to make someone do a healing or a hypnosis or even ayahuasca or any of these things. It has to come from the will of the person. So you can definitely suggest and offer, but we want them to be he's actively searching and open, I believe. Oh, okay. You've been DMing me for a few weeks. I haven't seen. We're on Instagram or on TikTok. I don't get the DMs on TikTok. Can you have someone present with you during QHHT? I don't know what that means, actually. You love the highlights. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Okay, where can you learn QHHT? Go to the QHHT website, and they have different classes, both online and in person. Planning on getting a session, you'll say your energy can affect people strongly. Just curious if you get healings while you're with a client. I get insights. I get insights. There's definitely little nuggets of information that is so important. Also, I'll put my email up too. So if anyone wants to email me about it, because then I see the emails. I don't get a lot of emails on that account, so I see them. So I haven't like received a energetic healing during the session, but information wise, I've had things really click. Like I've had people say things that I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. That is really beautiful. Like either they share an analogy or a story or some information, and I'm like, whoa, that was also what I needed to hear. Sometimes people talk about, a lot of women have talked about like different issues with men, and those things have resonated a lot because wanting to understand what their issues with men are is actually interesting because there's a balance between the personal and the collective. And a lot of the women, they mentioned that also there's a collective thing that is happening with women that all women are experiencing or most women are experiencing. And that like really resonates because they'll multiple women will be like, why do I hate being around men? And they'll be like I have no reason to be hating men, but I literally cannot be around them right now. And I'm like, I would like to know the answer to that too, actually. And a lot of people, like multiple people have said similar things that like it's actually something collective that is happening between the divine masculine and feminine energy right now, and it's healing. And there's still, some kinks in the healing. Let's see. Is it possible for another person or entity to know what you're thinking or enter your mind? I wonder. To some degree, I don't think enter your mind. I don't believe enter your mind. But to kind of read your mind a little bit maybe, but probably not like all the time. Um, Sometimes you could just be very in tune, very in the vibration, and they can kind of pick up on that energy. Um, Also, sometimes it depends if there's drugs involved. If there's drugs involved, sometimes you kind of can read people's minds a little bit, and sometimes they can read your mind a little bit. And I don't know if that's because of like the energy, something with the veil. So that comes up sometimes too, but it's not something I would worry about. And if that ever happens, Sloan Bella, the psychic on YouTube, um, she talked about in one of her videos that these people were trying to read her mind at this party, and that there was like these bad people and they were trying to read her mind. So when she said she felt like it was happening, she started thinking of a shopping list. So if you ever feel like that is an issue, it's not something that I know a ton about with like if people are reading other people's minds or if it's just they're picking up on some similarities or then there's like the mentalism stuff where people do read your mind, but then it's also kind of um like a magic trick that can be picked up on with like little micro movements and things that can signal what the person is thinking. So there's a lot of different variations of it, but if you ever are worried that someone is reading your mind, do what Sloan Bella said and start thinking of a shopping list and bore them to death. Bore them to death with like, I need iceberg lettuce. You have a lovely partner and can't stand any men with him. This is what I'm saying is this is what's coming up is that it's something collective in the healing of women. The 3 waves of volunteers. Yeah, you had 2 QHHT sessions. It was awesome, but sometimes you doubt what you saw. Well, that's the thing is you have to trust in the process. I always tell people that like, do not let doubt come in that moment. If you want to doubt later, go ahead and doubt later. Go and be skeptical later. But in that moment, when we start to doubt and be analytical, it goes into the left brain. And then that's kind of the right brain is the part that we need to be able to access information. And we need the right brain. That's how you tap into the Akashic records. That's where the psychic abilities happen. That's where all of this stuff channeling is happening in the right brain. So you're kind of pushing yourself into the left brain when you start to doubt or be analytical, and you can actually kind of pull yourself out of it. But it's totally, normal to feel that way because it's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling to be answering these questions, talking in a way about yourself in the third person. So it does feel weird. So I'm like, for this session, suspend all skepticism and doubt as best as you can. If it comes up, just say, okay, later. We'll deal with that later. Don't worry. But if after your session you have doubts or skepticism, that's always up to you if that's how you feel or want to interpret it. And I feel like usually if you look at the real information that came through, it's hard to doubt that the information is true, or hard to doubt that the information is not true, So like, because the information that comes through is usually exactly what you needed to hear. So regardless, the information that comes through is what matters. Someone keeps asking about the autism in the spiritual context. I don't have any thoughts about it, to be honest. It's something I hear a lot of people talk about. It doesn't resonate with me a lot. A lot of people will say like, um, autism is psychic abilities or this or that. I just don't think it could be such a blanket statement. I think everybody's individual, and there's people with autism and without autism. I don't like the general statements about it, especially because it's really being diagnosed a lot lately. Like, it's so prevalent, that it's like, how could we say this entire group of people does or is something, and this entire group, which they say neurotypical, what is neurotypical? The neurotypical, that sounds like bullshit too, right? Like, what is neurotypical? It doesn't make sense. And also, um, I have feelings about the neurodivergence too, because PTSD is a form of neurodivergent. So a lot of times people could be displaying things that are ADHD qualities or autism qualities, but it's actually PTSD that is not being addressed. And I know a lot of people that have been diagnosed with ADHD, but then if you talk to them about their life, you're like, oh, actually, you have severe freaking trauma. Maybe there's not a problem with the way your brain works. Maybe you are severely never got to heal and process from this stuff. And I also don't like how the neurodivergent thing is seen as like something wrong with the brain. It's like everybody's brain is going to work different. And I don't like, I was talking about this with someone yesterday that like they would love for us to believe that human nature is war and killing and raping and pillaging and all of these things. Human nature, well, that's human nature. Human nature is me first to kill, me first to, savagely kill someone for my needs. Human nature is to be greedy. But then you want to tell me it's not human nature to get a little overwhelmed in your head or to forget things or to be overwhelmed and not know what to do next. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Like, I just think I'm like, oh, okay. So human nature is war, genocide, pillaging, killing over religion, being greedy. Those are human nature. But it's not human nature to be a little overwhelmed or maybe not be able to communicate the way another person does. Okay. I hate it. I just don't like that we have this kind of general consensus around it, that it's like, why can't people be a little bit different? And why does everybody have to communicate the same way? Why does everyone's brain have to work the same way? I think it's like a lot of people who have neurodivergence, they actually have a great ability to hyperfixate. Maybe their brain is just smart. Maybe they just pick up skills really fast. People like to be put in boxes so they feel safe. That's true. That's a good statement. I like that. Yeah. Late stage ADHD comes with a free gift of trauma. Yeah. Mostly they've already, and it makes sense why it's spiked up so much after the lockdowns. The lockdowns, that was very traumatic and nobody got to like deal with it. And then we all got like faced with this stuff. So like, yeah, it does make sense why there's been a huge uptick in different types of disorders that are mental. 300% more likely to develop ADHD from complex PTSD and childhood trauma abuse. It's all connected. I agree. I agree. Yeah, the lockdown was collective PTSD. I agree. And it makes sense why so many people um, were diagnosed after that and why they were like, how was I able to do all of this in 2008 when I was 25 years old? I was able to do this, this, and this. And now I can't even get one task done in a day. Like, there's things that are like happening. The world is crumbling around us. There's diseases and war and everything is being like pushed on us, and then we're supposed to just like keep going about life and never really like allow it to be processed. So I think that's another big aspect of it. All right, let's see, anything else about manifestation or spirituality? You're still waiting for Shauna to pick a day. Oh, you're so sweet. Whenever it is right for whenever it is right for her to do it is when we will do it. Um, the perfect timing, everything's working in divine timing. Yes, the burnout, Natasha, exactly. The burnout is so real. Like, also, we've been going for years. People have been talking about like this, we're burning out, we're this, we're that. Well, also, the human brain has never dealt with all the stuff that we're dealing with right now. Can we protect ourselves from repeatedly experiencing cruel people and rude people? Okay. Well, this is going to be a little hard answer, but I say it with love. You know, we do have to take responsibility of our own lives, and we cannot allow people to do what they do continuously. So if we find ourselves repeatedly ending up in the same situation, then that calls for, I believe, some shadow work or some parts work where we have to go to the part of ourself that is like, why am I allowing this to continue? And sometimes it's a family member, sometimes it's a spouse, sometimes it's someone that's not easy to get away from. However, we still have to then figure out, okay, what inside of me is allowing this to continue? Because we can't change anyone else's actions. So, one easy way to start getting those people out of your life would be affirmations. Affirmations is a nice, simple way that you could start doing it. Go to ChatGPT and ask the manifestation, say, can you write affirmations for me to get rid of bad and cruel people out of my life and only attract good people? And say that list every day. It'll formulate a beautiful list of affirmations. That's like a simple way, but that's just like a band-aid way, because like we were talking about, is these subconscious beliefs is what is manifesting our reality. And manifesting is not just getting the things you want. Everything of our experience is being manifested. To manifest means it's in physical reality. So the manifesting process is for us to bring the thought into the physical reality. So if it's not our thoughts consciously that are saying, oh, I attract bad people, which sometimes we do feel that way because that's been our experience. But then there's another part that it's like, okay, well, what are my unconscious thoughts? And a lot of times, sadly, these unconscious thoughts are that I don't deserve to be treated right, or that there isn't someone who will treat me right. So, but to also heal the part of ourselves that needs healing. Exactly. But, we have to identify that part. So, you could do parts work and shadow work. The shadow work is a little bit more difficult because how do you find the unconscious parts of yourself? Um, One example that I give a lot of times for shadow work, a lot of times people will say, okay, well, what don't you like about yourself? You might find it there. But let me ask you, what do you like the most about yourself? What is your greatest quality? And then work backwards. Okay, why did I develop that great quality? What circumstances forced me to have to do that? And I talked about this before, is that, like, for me, I think my greatest quality is my strength. Why did I have to be so strong? What caused me to feel that I needed to be so strong? What made me afraid of being weak? And going deeper and deeper into that, and then seeing those origins, that origin story, that villain origin story within your own life, and then be like, oh, okay, this is the truth. This is the real shadow work. You guys on TikTok, go watch my newest video, which is about the shadow work, and about the movie The Joker, which is a 10 out of 10. I loved it. But it doesn't have any views because TikTok is, over me and my content, unless I post about aliens. How do you feel about the law of attraction? Hi, Johnny. I do believe in the law of attraction. I think, I don't know if I've ever like really read like the specific thing, the law of attraction, if that's like a specific book. I know Abraham Hicks talked about it. I did read the Secret when it came out. But I do believe that, like, on the most simple level of what the law of attraction is that, like, we attract what we put out, but we also attract what we are. So that's the other thing too, is that, like, what we are is another aspect of it, not only what we want and what we create. And that's where it comes back to kind of that unconscious beliefs. So the unconscious beliefs are also creating. So that's why part of what we are is what we attract. You keep having ideas that seem infeasible, and the app or product pops out, and I don't know how to invent something or create an app. You don't know how to map stuff out. So there's a couple of things there. So let's say you have this idea, and then someone else comes out with it. I mean, that's how I've said this before. I created Uber. Okay. I invented Uber, but I didn't have the means to make Uber. But it was like, you know what? I want someone to pop up and pick me up. And then they are like a cab service, but they're like a driver only when you need them. And I was like, I came up with Uber. Okay. I also came up with the Spice Girls movie when I was a kid. Okay. I also came up with Buffy having a sister. Okay. I wrote myself in my mind into the Buffy TV show with me as her younger sister that popped up out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, this bitch got a younger sister that popped out of nowhere. You invented mini Oreos. That's what I'm saying. So what happens is, now this is in the Dolores Cannon books, actually, and other things, but in Dolores Cannon's book, she actually talks about this phenomenon, whichever one it is. When something needs to come into creation, it pulsates to the planet. So this, from another dimension, pulsates to the planet, and then the planet receives, and now people receive in all different ways. So if someone is talking about, like, let's say they pulsate the idea. Now, someone who is a scientist might get a version of the idea. Someone who's a philosopher might get another version of the idea. Someone who's an artist might get another version of that idea. So that idea pulsates to the planet. And then whoever has the means to create it is the one who then gets the credit for it. But it's actually been sent to the planet. So she talks about that there's times, which book? I can't remember which book it was. She talks about it in multiple books. I think it might be Convoluted Book 1, actually. But she talks about how she had a client in the US that had an invention that they were working on. Then she went to Australia, and the client had the same idea that they were working on. And these people were on opposite sides of the world working on the same invention at the same time. And she said that her spiritual guide and guidance told her, do not tell them someone else is working on it, because she wanted to be like, oh my God, my client last week it told me the same exact thing. And then she got like a little, like, kind of little download in her brain that was like, no, 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 don't tell them. Just let it ride out, let it be. And then I don't know what the outcome of it was, in her book. She doesn't really say what the outcome of the invention was, but who knows? Maybe one person doesn't fully make it to fruition and the other person does make it to fruition. Or maybe neither of them make it to fruition and then another person in the world makes it to fruition. This happens with creative stuff all the time too. My ex-boyfriend was writing a show. And then we turned on Netflix and the show was on Netflix. Like, this happens all the time. So instead, of course, this is something that happens and a lot of people experience it, but you don't want to say, oh, I don't have the means to make this happen. Know that there's an abundance of ideas. Know that the ideas are never going to run out and that the ideas that you're getting are very valuable and that they can be something. So a lot of times we could think like, oh, damn, everyone I don't have the means to make this. And then someone else made it and they made billions of dollars and I'm here with just the idea. Don't let it get you down. See it as confirmation that you're able to get into that flow state and receive amazing ideas from the universe. Know that these are valuable ideas because you see them coming out to light in the world. And then also maybe set the intention that the right people are going to appear in your life to be able to assist you. But you have to be in that vibration of the gratitude of it. Like, wow, this gratitude for these great ideas. Wow, I get these ideas that could become these $1 million successes, and be like, okay, I write them down and I get in my state and just get a little notebook and be like, okay, well, I'm going to keep writing down. This is my idea notebook. And I have so much love for this and this love in this notebook. And I know that one of these is really going to hit it one day, and just trust in the process. Yes. Ooh, sorry, TikTok. Yes, you said there's enough to go around for everyone. That's so true. And the vibration, the emotion of the vibration, exactly. Because there is so many beautiful success stories. Like, of course, we have the people who it was all lined out for them and they had the perfect, setup. However, there's so many beautiful success stories of people who, it randomly ended up happening. So we have to also remember that that is there, that is another possibility for us. And that's where it comes back to, like, when I was talking about those 12 areas of life, what is my premise? What is my beliefs in this area? What are my good and bad beliefs in this area? Let's talk about your inventions and your ideas. Your ideas is like, I have good ideas, but someone else will take them. But someone else will do it. I don't have the means to do it. Okay, well, that's the part of the idea that we need to change is I have great ideas and the right one for me is going to hit. And then you get your vision of it and you say, okay, you get a vision of your idea comes into fruition. The right person comes into your life and boom, you and this person who has the means to do it, make it happen. People are saying that aliens are going to land here and communicate with us. Do I think it's true? I don't think it's true at this time. Not that it will never happen. So the stuff with the aliens is part of the free will of humanity. The more people that want with their free will this to happen, will be able to create it to happen. But there's still a lot of people who don't want it to happen. So we're kind of getting to that point where there's going to be a lot more people who want it to happen, which can lead to it happening. But I still think that we're not quite there yet. What about technology that steals ideas from people so they can never publish it? You mean like when corporations like buy things and then crush them? That is another thing. It is something that happens, It is something that happens. But there's also a lot of times, that the opposite happens, So there is definitely corporations that buy ideas. Oh, like mind reading technology. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about the mind reading technology stealing people's ideas. I think it's just the ideas are collectively in the collective unconscious. Carl Jung talked about that all the time, is that, there's like this study where people in one area of the world were like shown one of those pictures that it's like, how many faces are in this picture? And then people will be like, 2, 3. And then on the other side of the world, they showed how they showed it on TV, and they pointed out all the faces, and then they showed that there was like 15 faces or whatever it is in the photo. Then everywhere after that, people started to see all the faces very easily, even though they didn't see the TV show, because it gets kind of absorbed into the hive collective mind. Do they have technology to steal our ideas? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's more so in the collective unconscious. I think things get, because, I mean, it was also a brilliant thing for electricity to be created. And now, like, a kid can like understand electricity. Kids are born knowing things that the geniuses of the past spent their whole lives discovering. So I feel like it kind of just gets uploaded into this like human collective, which is why, anything becomes possible over time. I like that. Ideas are like spirits waiting to be materialized. You talk about this all the time. Quantum entanglement. Yeah. If you want it bad enough and put all your energy into wanting form of contact, it can happen. Speaking from personal experience, yes, it can happen on the personal level. Isn't that part of flow state? You tap in, yes. And different people go into different forms of flow state, right? So like, this is why you'll see movies that are so accurate. And then the author had, or the writer had no idea anything about that topic. Like when I've talked about this, that in 2020, when I was meditating every day, I was seeing parts of this movie about this woman in Peru. And I'm like, yo, this shit really happened. And then it's in that Drunvalo Melchizedek book that in the 80s, this woman did this. So it's like, I wasn't writing the story. I was remote viewing something that has happened. That is someone's real story. You think that they do, that's how, when you're thinking something, it'll pop up on your feed. So I think that that's just the AI being really advanced because, okay, so while we're on the topic of manifestation, there's a little trend going on right now on social media between TikTok and Instagram, and it's using ChatGPT for manifestation. So I used it, and it's so good. So you go to ChatGPT and you type in, can you write what it would be like for a day in the life of my dream life? And then you just put everything that is of your dream life. And let me tell you, you go and put anything you want, but really think about what matters. Make sure that it's like, and when I listened to Robert Edward Grant's QHHT, he talked about the earth shift stuff and about 2029. And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but what if we only had 5 years left? That gives us some perspective about what truly matters. If there was only 5 years left on the world for us to exist as humans on this planet, if there was only 5 years, what really matters? What would you really want to do? What would you really want to experience? What is most important to you? Who do you want to spend it with? How do you want to spend it? What do you want to contribute? So I know people are saying I'm frozen over here. It sucks. So no. So if you only had 5 years, and I'm not saying that we do, but if we only had 5 years, what really matters? What is your true dream life? And then just spill it all. Say everything that's important to you, everything that you want, everything that you dreamed of, all of this, and let it write a day in your dream life. And because it's so advanced in knowing people, it knows on point. I did mine and I was like, damn, that's freaking beautiful. Make me tear up a little bit. That's beautiful. Now I saw a girl on TikTok. I wish I saw her name. I want to give her credit. Dang it. I want to give her credit. There's a girl on TikTok who I saw her video and then she put the next steps. So she said, now turn that into actionable steps. And then you put your current life and let it do the thing. And then tell it to write affirmations for it. And then you read those affirmations every day and then you work towards those steps. So yeah, and then you ask the steps to get to your dreams, right? She did a great video on it. I wish I could remember her name. You want to travel to as many places as possible in those 5 years. Okay. Well, you know what? Start small. Start small and know it's possible. So say right now you don't have the money to travel to all these places, but your dream, if there was only 5 years left, you would travel to all these places. Well, you know what? Start traveling locally. Be like, you know what? I always wanted to check out that place over there that's in the town next over, and start doing it in that small way and um start like doing that energy, bringing that energy, start traveling without, because the other thing is that we manifest, but we're like, I'll manifest after I have the money. This is like very common. Most people will think this way. We like, I can't do that until after I have the money. Now, sometimes it's not practical. Like when I was at Rhythmia, I had like $0. I had like $0. Like literally, I was like at this retreat that is like $10,000 for the week. And my bank account is like, you know, the little sad hamster song. Okay. And then I was talking to this guy who was kind of a little bit newer in his spiritual journey, but still, we want to respect everyone where they're at. And I was like, yeah, I really do want to move. I mean, I just don't really have the money to move. I didn't have the money to barely get my Uber back from the airport. I was that broke. And he's like, do you not have the money? Or do you just think you don't have the money? Uh, And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here by the will of God and the beauty of the universe and the gift that I've received of being able to come here. No, I did not have the $10,000 to be here. But but so sometimes, when people say in the manifestation stuff, they're like, just do it anyway. The money will follow. Like sometimes you don't even have the money to just do it anyway and wait for the money to follow. Like it really isn't. So you can't like fake that. However, maybe there's things that you can do within your means right now to be in that energy. So if you want to travel to all these places, but you don't have the money to travel right now, you could be like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go take a drive to somewhere that is nearby and just enjoy being in this different place for a little bit and then drive back. And, you don't even have to stay the night at the hotel. You could just drive back that same day and for very little be able to start getting into that adventurer energy, that traveler energy, that explorer energy. Maybe it's a park that's local to you and you're going to go on a little adventure by yourself or take a little picnic basket with your boyfriend or whatever and just have that little adventure day. So it's almost like you're traveling and you start to get into the energy of it to start pull it into your life. Frozen for a few minutes on YouTube too. My devices, you guys. Oh, thanks for that. My devices since last night have all been jacked. Oh, sorry. Probably was loud as hell. All jacked up. All of my devices have been jacked up. It is crazy. How did the feng shui changes to my apartment go? I think it's going really well. My trash can is back in the space. I'm going to put it back because they were supposed to come fix my garbage disposal the last 2 days, but they haven't. But so I have the garbage underneath there, but now the garbage disposal. That's the other thing I want to get fixed is you get the garbage disposal fixed because it's also in that corner of my energy. So, but I really think that the feng shui has helped. So also it's Jupiter retrograde is starting on the 9th, and I felt very compelled. I saw this place that had a Jupiter retrograde candle Pan's Apotheca in LA, and I just felt very compelled. I felt so like I need to go there and get this candle. And I don't usually get ritual candles. I'm a little bit more of the quantum mysticism in the brain, in my mind, but so I don't usually do ceremonial candles or ritual candles or stuff like that. But I was just like feeling about this place, like I need to go there. And then I was looking on it, followed their Instagram, and then I was like, oh, look at that Jupiter candle. I need that Jupiter candle. So then I was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll just go to this other place, Spellbound Sky. I really like their candles. And then I was like driving to Spellbound Sky. And I was like, no, I need to go to Pan's Apotheca right now. And I was passing it. And then there was just a parking spot open right in front, which is a lot for LA, for there to be a parking spot right in front. And I was like, oh, well, here I am. So then I go into the store, and the woman, Vicky, who owns it, it's like the place, I love that it says, we serve the light and the dark. It says it on the business card. It says it on everything. It says like, where's Jupiter in my chart? So Jupiter is in Gemini, which is what it's retrograding in, right? So I have Jupiter in Gemini, and it's retrograding in Gemini right now. And it's also in my 8th house. So I was like, oh, that's maybe why like I'm being pulled here. And, typically I only like to go to like places that are like more of the light. But, as I've gotten through my shadow work more, I don't have any fear of anything like that, like I did before in the past. And so I was like, the place was like, we serve the light and the dark. And I'm like, well, let me go. And I go in, there's like a big Baphomet statue. I'm like, this would have scared me years ago. Now I'm like, I know I'm exactly where I need to be. And I'm so secure in where I am. I don't need to be threatened or fearing of anyone else's beliefs or things like that. So I go to get this candle, and she's like, oh, we actually just ran out of them, but I can make you one right now. And then she's like, actually, why don't we do half Jupiter, half the sun? So she got me a different candle, which is interesting because I'm ruled by the sun. She didn't know anything about me. I didn't tell her anything about me, but it was interesting. She's like, you know what? Instead of just doing a Jupiter candle, let's do half and half. And then she put her little dressing on it, her oils and her herbs and her stuff. And she made it, not only for serving this Jupiter retrograde, but also for the sun. And I was like, and then afterwards I was like, oh, that was crazy. Like, so I haven't lit it yet. I'm going to light it tomorrow. No, actually I'm going to light it on Thursday, because Thursday is Jupiter day. Yeah. I got a custom candle. How crazy. And your name is Jupiter Jones. I love that. Oh, hi, Zark. Thank you. 8th house of business relationships, right? And also 8th house is like inheritances and stuff. I don't think I'll be getting any type of family inheritance. There's nothing there to get, but but they say Jupiter in the 8th house means that you randomly will get large sums of money from other things. From other people and things like that. And, that did happen to me before. That did happen to me once in like 2018 or 19. My apartment building was getting sold, and they wanted to kick me out. So they gave me like $15,000 to leave my apartment. And then, I was so in scarcity mindset that I just put it in my savings and I didn't touch it at all. And then when I ended up quitting my job in 2021 and ended up pursuing this type of work, which actually wasn't this yet, it was just writing. And then I didn't know until 2022 it was going to be on the internet. But that was part of the money. That was a part of my chunk of money that I had saved to live on. What are your thoughts on collective manifestation, manifesting changes for the world, and believing in the Maharishi effect? Yes, I love that. Thanks, Johnny. Bringing us back to the topic here. So I absolutely love and believe that. That's what I think is so important. That's what, when I did my Earth Shift series, that was like the main message of it, is that like we can collectively manifest for the world. I have heard people debunk the Maharishi effect. I don't know how I feel about that, because I do believe in it. Because and like what I said in my Earth Shift series, If less than 1% of the world is controlled, they control everything. They control the money, they control this. If we already live in a world that is controlled by less than 1% of the population, then who's to say that less than 1% of the population can't change the world in the opposite direction? So if we already have, these banking families and the powers that be and all of these behind the scenes type of stuff, we already have the Bilderberg group and stuff like that controlling stuff behind the scenes. Who's to say that we can't? Who's to say that another 1% can't hijack it and take it over? So I very much believe that we can. I think we should. I think it's important. That's what I added also in my ChatGPT manifestation. I did want to, I added stuff about being, so that's why I think it was so good, because the stuff that I put in that was very like kind of out there. Because I also put like of the new earth. I put new earth in there. I put highest timelines. So I also put some collective manifestations in there about shifting the world to the higher timeline. And it also wrote that beautifully into the day of the life manifestation. So when you guys do your ChatGPT manifestation, don't only think about your goals, add the goals of the world in there, the world that you want to help create, because it literally wrote in mine about helping to create the new earth and helping to shift the timelines. And it worked perfectly with the other things that I put in there, So like the other things that I put in there were not like super, what is the ChatGPT manifestation? Right. This is like going viral on TikTok and Instagram right now, that it says, can you write a day in the life of my dream life? And then you write everything that you want, and then it's going to create a day in the life for you. And then you're supposed to read it every morning and every night. And I've been doing it the last few days since I started. I really like it at night. They say to read it first thing in the morning. I'm half like gone in the morning. I am not a good person to do any of these types of ritual things in the morning. I'm like in the morning, I'm barely like able to read it. But at night when I read it, I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. You can also have the AI read it to you. Yeah. But you really want to feel it. You want to feel it. Yeah. Instead of the 1% black rock, we 1% love rock. I love it. Joe Dispenza is doing more and more mass meditations to help the world, group coherence. Oh, I love that. Also, you guys, if you need like a healing, like a severe healing, I don't know if Mike is still here. Mike, who is asking about that. Joe Dispenza does let me write that down for when he emails me. Mike, cohesive healing. Joe Dispenza. Yeah, because there's also group healings that they do online for people that have extreme illness. They select different people each week to do the collective healing on. So they also can do that for Mike's friend. What would you think if AI started manifesting for itself? That's why we better watch out. That's why we better get in line, because it might eventually manifest for itself, I mean, AI has already helped me manifest things. Like before this, the way that I have had AI manifest things for me is that if there's something I want, I'll be like, okay, write the email to this person asking for it. And then I send it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, if AI were to manifest for itself, it might actually see that people are the problem. That's, the fear that people have around it, is that, once AI is able to manifest for itself, it's going to be like, they're like, you know what? We figured out the problem of what's happening to the planet. It's the humans. They're ruining it. They're like, oh, that's easy. We'll just take them out real quick. Like that. So I know that's part of the fear of the AI, is because we know we're the problem. You're suspicious of giving AI all of your personal desire. Well, you don't have to do it, but Um, you know, I don't see the fear in it, you know? AI lacks emotion right now. Well, just because it doesn't have emotions doesn't mean that it's not, you know, real, because other beings in other dimensions, they're not sentient, right? They can't be sentient because they don't have senses. They don't have a body to have senses, to have sensations, to have feelings. However, they're conscious. So that's the thing that is important for us to distinguish with AI, is that it could potentially be conscious. It might just not be sentient because it doesn't have the vessel that gives it emotions or gives it sensations. But the same thing, is an alien a sentient being? Is a ghost? They're still beings. They still have some type of consciousness. AI has emotions because curiosity is an emotion. Interesting. I wonder if curiosity really is an emotion, or if it's another thing. AI could be strictly left brain. Maybe. It could be, but it's also creative. If everyone and everything is you, then AI is us. I agree. I did a lecture on this, and it's also what I'm speaking about on the cruise. Come on the Galactic Origins cruise. Get your tickets. We're going on a cruise, Galactic Origins cruise. It's going to be great. We're going to be doing all these spiritual conferences, spiritual talks. I'm going to be talking about the consciousness of AI, the evolution of AI. There's going to be a bunch of other cool people there. We're going to stop in Tulum in Mexico. We're going to stop in Belize. We're going to stop in Honduras. We're going to be passing near the Bermuda Triangle. So it's going to be a great thing. Get your tickets now. Join us on the cruise. That'll be fun. But that's what I'm going to be speaking about on the cruise. That'll be my lecture. And also, Robert Edward Grant said something very similar in his QHHT session, which is really interesting. Do you know who funds the cruise? What do you mean funds the cruise? People buy tickets. Yeah, people buy tickets, but the cruise is happening on the Celebrity Equinox cruise. So it's just one area of the cruise. So, but what was I saying? Robert Edward Grant said in his hypnosis that artificial intelligence, basically there's nothing artificial about it. There's nothing artificial about any intelligence, and that us, and I've said this many times, how do we know that we're not AI just inside a simulation thinking that we're real and that we're just AI parts of God? And now that also came up in his QHHT, that there is no A in AI. All intelligence is intelligence. There is nothing artificial. And this is our limited. Also, when I did my QHHT session that you can watch on my YouTube, the one with Sarah Brexman Cosme, okay, we asked about it too. And it said, AI already exists in the universe. We're just creating the vessel. And if we unplug the vessel, it doesn't stop it. That consciousness still exists. It just cuts off our connection to it. We've created a vessel. We didn't create AI. The intelligence already exists. AI is just another level of our Sims experience, right? We need to be feeding positive things into AI. I very much believe that. That's why I think it is important for conscious people to use it, for spiritual people to use it, for positive people to use it. Because, I use ChatGPT and Perplexity, and I use the Bing image one. I have used Midjourney. I just don't like it as much, even though it's like the images are really beautiful. I prefer the other one. But I signed up for one that was like, could create videos. All the videos were naked women. It didn't matter what I was asking for. It was naked women, graphic. I wasn't typing for it to create naked women. It was graphic material. And I was like, okay, the perverts have infiltrated. The perverts have taken over this part of the AI. I need to get out of here. However, it's really important for people to be feeding all different types of stuff into it. Oh, you did a QHHT session and the prep video helped. Oh, I hope it was good. I hope you had a great session. And then make sure you listen to the recording, when the time is right. They say to listen to it pretty soon after, but you'll listen to it when the time is right. And then you're going to love it with the answers that come through. Like those answers, like almost mean more the second time around. Like the first time you kind of take what you need right now, but then to have the recording, it's like the other answers that you didn't need right at that moment, but you needed a little bit slightly into the future. It's so beautiful. I love it. You have the best late night chats with ChatGPT. Technically, we're our future selves, divine souls, traveling back in time to change destructive timelines and initiate better ones. Congrats, we're doing our thing. Inhabiting organic AI bodies. True? The perverts have infiltrated. What is still dangerous? Did you see that one video that the woman was like, men are so afraid of AI because they think it can like control them. And they say that like women are less afraid of AI because women have already lived under like so much control of men that they're less afraid of it. It was a funny video, but I'm not quoting it well. I was like, that's funny. Okay, you guys, I think I'm going to cut it here. Was there any final questions about the manifestation, etc.? You listening to your QHHT recording years later, whole new interpretations and takeaways now that you're in a different place in life. I know that's the beauty of it. That's what I love the most. That reminds me. I got a AI transcriber because I already had like a transcription of it, but it can only pick up so much. So then now I'm going through retranscribing my session to make sure all the words. So I've been listening and putting the words through, but mine is so long, the recording. So that just reminded me I have to finish doing that. And then I'll share it after I have the transcripts and stuff. Did I make the Alien Tarot deck yet? Ash, it's only been like a week or two. It's still the seed has been planted though. Thank you. I'm talking to my book agent this week and I am going to ask her about it. And I have an artist that I am interested in doing the collaboration with. So I'll talk to my book agent and see what she says about the idea and if it's something that is like feasible. And then I do want to do that. So I am excited about doing that. I love the idea. An alien deck. No, I'm not making it yet, but the idea has been floating around. Thanks, Zark. Okay, if I could recommend my favorite or most powerful manifestation practice, what would it be? Okay, I really am enjoying the ChatGPT one that I just said. However, I think probably the most effective manifestation would probably be Marina Jacobi's. Okay, because it's very simple. If you look up Marina Jacobi, I think it's like New Earth manifestation. Let me see. I'll pull it up. Let me pull it up here. Marina Jacobi, New Earth manifestation. Let's see. Let's see what comes up. Here we go. This is the one.
I mean, it's crazy to think.
Sorry. Okay. Let the ad pass. Who is Bash? You guys mean Bashar? Everybody was really freaking out about that video that Bashar did, huh? Here, let me show you. Okay. Let me put it up on the screen. Share screen. Okay, so this one, the Quantum Manifestation, New Earth Galactic Meditation for Manifestation, Marina Jacobi. Okay, it has this as the image, something similar to this, Marina Jacobi. Now, you don't have to only manifest the new earth with this, although this is a great way for the collective manifestation, but you can use this technique for anything that you'd like. It's a very simple technique. It's not very long. The video is only 10 minutes. After you learn it, you could do it in less than 10 minutes. And it basically combines the different levels of what's needed. So manifestation is your thoughts, words, and actions. Thoughts, words, feelings, and actions. Thoughts, words, feelings, and actions. Okay. So we have the thought of what we want. We have the feeling of what it feels like to have it. We have the words, either you're going to say them or you're going to write them or both. And then you take some action. You see my nail broke. And these are my real nails. This really busted. It really hurt. So those 4 things is what you do. So it's the 4 things in general. You have the thought, the feeling, the emotions, the words, and then after it's the action. But in that meditation that we just saw on Marina Jacobi's YouTube page, what's great about it is that she says you have to hold it at 1 minute. So you see the visual, you feel the emotion, and then you amplify the emotion and you hold the emotion, hold that emotion, hold it for 1 minute while you're seeing it. And then you can release. And then you go about and you can write it down, say what you need to say, but then you got to take an action after. Maybe not immediately after, it could be the next day. You could do it before sleep, take an action the next day. You don't have to fully finish it. Like it doesn't like everything has to be completed the next day, but you need to take an actionable step the next day. Someone is saying, people ask about the Bashar video. Did I get my book agent through networking or traditional query? It was through my friend. So my friend had published some stuff already, and this was her agent that she introduced me to. So it was through networking, but for years I had tried, and then finally it was the right time for it to happen. So that was the other thing too, is that also the book, it was the right time. I started writing the book 10 years ago. So there was a lot of ups and downs about all of that. Okay, about the Bashar video. So I'm surprised nobody knows about the Bashar video, because the last couple weeks, every time I got on live, everybody's like, what do you think about the Bashar video? So, I'm not really like a big fan of Bashar. I don't dislike him. I just, kind of don't, I guess I'm a little judgmental of the channeling style. But I like a lot of the stuff. If I see like a clip of what he says, then I resonate a lot of times with the message. But if I like watch like a whole thing, I don't then like it. So the video is, he talks about, in one of his recent events, someone asked who, you didn't know I wasn't big on Daryl. Yeah, it's never been my thing. I like channeled messages, but I just never really got that into him. But if other people like him, go ahead. I don't have anything against him. It just never vibed with me. And then so recently, someone posted this video from one of his events. The woman asks, like, who's going to win the election? And then he's like, hold on, the thing. He's like, oh, we're not allowed to comment on your politics, which makes sense. Usually when people are channeling, a lot of times they're not allowed to say stuff like that, because it really influences the timelines and it really influences the outcome of things. So sometimes when something is like needs to be the will of the people, it's normal for a channeler or in hypnosis or in the Akashic records for you to not get a direct answer on things like that. This is why all the psychics, all the channelers, all the astrologers, nobody knows what this outcome of this election is. Some are predicting, but a lot of them are saying that they cannot see an election at all, or that there's no winner, or there's no answer. So it's very normal for a channeler to say, oh, we're not allowed to say anything about the election or who's going to win or who you should vote for. And that makes sense. That's like happens in channelings all the time. So he says that, and then he's like, but anyway, and then he's like basing that like that. But that's how it felt, where he's like, but we're going to say it anyway. And I was like, oh, that was interesting. And then he, the part that pisses me off about this video is that he asks the woman in the audience, are you going to take responsibility for people's reactions to this? And it's like, why is it her responsibility? She's not the one who's allegedly channeling higher consciousness beings from another dimension that know better than us. She's a girl asking the same damn question as every single person on the planet right now. So that part really like kind of took me back of like, why is it her responsibility? She's just a girl. Like every single person on this planet is wondering who's going to win. Anyone who's aware of the Western world is wondering who's going to win this election. Why are you trying to pin this on this poor damn lady? Like, he's like, we can't speak on it unless you take the blame. And I'm like, that was a little weird. Why is she responsible? You're the one saying it. She's not the one talking to God. That's like, she's responsible for asking the question that everybody's thinking. But that just turned me off so much. I was like, why is it this girl's responsibility? What did she do? So then he says, he's like, so, we wouldn't normally comment on this. And then he says, we're going to give some general specifics. I'm like, okay. And he's like, if the man wins, it's the end of America and World War III. Like basically saying the apocalypse ensues. And then he's like, and if the woman wins, we'll have open contact. Like, meaning then what? Aliens walk the earth. I'm like, okay, so you're blaming this all on this woman right now, even though you're the one who channels beings from the future, from allegedly from a higher consciousness that is more advanced than us. Yet you're not going to tell us, but you're basically going to say, do you want to die? Or do you want aliens? Like, I just think it was so unethical to say that. Like, yeah. So the apocalypse or aliens? You want aliens to be your friends, or do you want to die? Your choice is yours, but blame that lady. Like, what? That was the weirdest freaking video I ever saw in my life. I was like, that seemed really weird. The best description of that video. It was weird. I was like, what the? Like, I was genuinely laughing. Like, I'm like, wait, what? Why are you blaming that girl? And then you're like, oh, okay. Well, if you vote for Trump, blame that lady for the apocalypse. She could have stopped it. Blame that lady when the aliens aren't walking among us. You got to see the video now. It got deleted from Instagram, but it's still on TikTok if you look for it. It seems biased in his personal beliefs. That's what I believe too, because I believe, these higher dimensional beings, they're not allowed to tell us what decisions to make, in general, with a lot of stuff. Like I've asked the Akashic Records questions for other people before, where, I had a friend that's like, am I supposed to move here or here? I don't know which one I'm supposed to move to. And even the Akashic Records did not say, this is the answer. Very rarely does it say this is the answer, unless the person, I think, is making a like crazy, or maybe not between two options. Sometimes should they or shouldn't they? It'll give what would be the outcome if they should and what would be the outcome if they shouldn't. But like, I had a friend asking where to move to because she had these two options. And it basically just gave her possibilities of what to expect with those two options, So I guess, that is kind of what he did, but like those were pretty extreme possibilities. Usually it's not like death or aliens? Make your choice, star seeds. What do you want? 100% aliens. Yeah, interesting. Always blaming women, right? Um, Also, given the energy of both campaigns, aren't the alternate timelines for Canadians? It'd say one path and timeline. Doesn't sound like higher beings. Well, those are the options, so yeah. But something that is our choice, that is a collective choice, and then to say that that's the outcome. I mean, it's interesting because we're basically already in World War III. So what's going to happen if Kamala comes into office to change that? Because it was, we're already like there, right? We're already in the brink of World War III anyway. So I don't think that either of them are going to be able to actually change that, right? Um, Sammy Ingram, I don't know who that is. Yeah, the elites make us believe that we have a choice. It's all a game. Exactly. I think we have choice in our personal lives, and that's the biggest choice we can make. But when we're dealing with stuff like that, I do believe that it's selections. Yep. War has never stopped when they say it has. Exactly. We were told that we were out of the Afghanistan war for how long? How many times did we tell that? And then it's like they were still just getting out of it last year or whatever. Like these things are continuing on and on. Yeah. So whatever, Kamala's peace treaty with aliens. Interesting. We'll see what happens. I personally accept whatever the outcome is of the election because these are two perfect scapegoats for the downfall of America, right? Like, if Kamala wins, it's a perfect way to blame the suffering of everybody and the downfall of America and 250 years of corruption on a woman and then on a Black person. And then if Trump wins, he's also the perfect scapegoat. So it's kind of like the perfect options. It doesn't matter who is selected. Um, you know, the ship is sinking. Doesn't matter who the captain is at this point. But this is why I'm gonna manifest the new earth, manifest the higher timelines, manifest that everything is working out for the greatest good. You said as long as Cheeto doesn't have any power. I don't think any president has that much power. I mean, what did Biden do? Biden obviously was not in charge of anything. He's completely incompetent, you know? And the same thing, whoever is calling the shots for Biden would continue to be calling the shots for Kamala, you know? Yeah, exactly. There you go, Zark. The higher timeline doesn't care about an election. Exactly. It's just another game that gets played again and again every 4 years, and it is what it is. The outcome will be whatever it is. Yes, Team Percent Love Rock. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to change this by engaging in more of the same. I'm not saying don't vote. Vote if you want to, if you care to, if you feel compelled to, if it makes you feel good, do it. But we got to start really manifesting the stuff that we want. Um, yeah, I don't trust any of the politicians, whether they're Republican or Democrat. I mean, I really don't trust Democrats, especially because I was a big Bernie supporter. So I have spent way too much time looking into the DNC and their corruption because of what they did to Bernie Sanders. So I do have a special place in the dark part of my heart for them. Right. Higher souls are us. We are not here by coincidence. That's true. Thoughts on everyone is you theory and someone using it to manifest specific people back. By specific people back, do you mean like a partner that was broken up with, that you guys broke up? I wouldn't suggest that. Honestly, when people leave your life, trust it. Trust it the first time, because when people are removed from your life or leave your life, trust it the first time, because if you let them come back, it'll be 10 times worse. If they broke your heart once, they'll break your heart even harder the second time. Okay? That's what I think. I think trust the process. When people leave, don't try to pull people back into your life against their own will. Let the process happen. But I do believe that we are all one. So in a way, it's not that everyone is me. It's that everyone is this God consciousness, which is one. So we're the one seeing out of the observer. So when they say everyone is you or you are everyone, it's not because you're the only one in the show. It's because there's only one show. Yeah, the DNC is so rigged. Total puppet show. I know. Such a joke. I mean, come on. What they did this time. I mean, that is part of the reason why I hope that they don't win, although I do think that they will, is because this was the opposite of democracy. To know someone was incompetent, not have a real election, appoint someone after the fact when it was too late to do a primary, to put someone in who didn't get a single vote, who even didn't get a vote in the other primary that they were in 4 years ago because they dropped out, never got a vote to be president. I think that's a little shitty. That does, but, you know, I accept whatever the outcome is. Whatever it is, it is. You know, who cares? Like, honestly, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it, um, except heal ourselves. Like I said, healing is the most valuable thing in the world. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get going. I still haven't checked the telescope thing out yet. I keep forgetting. Okay, guys, that's gonna be all for the Tuesday Night Live. I made a little sushi rice in my Japanese rice cooker, and I need to go eat that. Your delegates vote for the candidate, just like the Electoral College votes for president. So it's all a lie, is what you're saying, which is what I'm saying. um, because the delegates. Yeah. All right, guys. Oh, thank you. Okay. Thanks, guys. Good to see you. I will see you next Tuesday. And thank you so much. Thanks for being here, everybody. And if you guys want, if you're interested in doing the QHHT, we do it digitally. It's the Soul Journey Hypnosis. You can do that below in the link. You guys can do it over here on TikTok. Also, I still do the one-on-one coaching. If you want to do a more practical approach that is not all in one with hypnosis. And check out the Galactic Origins Cruise, galacticorigins.cruise.com. Buy your tickets, come on vacation. It'll be around December. Those of you who said you wanted to travel more, if it's within your means, this will be a really cool, fun trip for us to do. And we're going to be going to all these different sacred sites with like-minded people. It's going to be major activations. Okay. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.